where I find a place in this world or never belong. I gotta be me, I gotta be me. What else can I be but what I am? I want to live, not merely survive.
I have something. I wanted to ask you this. You worked every day for your father as an adult in this business. Can you tell us some of the jobs you did for Jimmy Knapp?
Well, of course, my father would never allow me to use violence or physical force, and that I did on my own. But he taught me how to negotiate. He said, go talk to this individual. Talk to him about what he's doing. Talk to his family when they want to come to see Jimmy Knapp. Let them see you about their children if they're on drugs or whatnot. He said, school them and use diplomacy. Don't use violence. However, I know you're using violence, he said, but not ordered by me. If you're doing that on your own, he said. But I guess that's what I know you're going to do, but I don't approve of it, he said. I don't condone it. And I would go out. I didn't have to go out. People came to me. And this is his ring that he left for me before he died. And this is the family, the coat of arms. And in the back is patent at Tiffany's. It's 14-karat gold. And he gave it to me before he died. And I remember this ring, how many people used to kiss that ring when they saw him, when they went looking for help from him at the Highway Lounge. That was his office in the back room of his bar. And Creashy's was later on at night, after 5 at night, for dinner time for business people to see him. But the local people in the neighborhood had problems with the landlord or not getting paid on a number they played. It would be the Highway Lounge he would meet those people at. There was one time a woman there with a carriage, and the next day she's carrying the baby, and my father said, she's walking in front of the place on the sidewalk. Where's the carriage? She said, oh, Vincenza, she was Italian, oh, Vincenza, oh, no more, Christopher stole it. They stole her carriage. My father had one of his crew members go out, buy a new carriage, and give her a $100 bill, and said, you see, when she came back to thank him, she kissed him on this ring. So that's a memory of this ring, of one of those incidents that he took care of.
Well, I'm sure it's just one of many. You know, yeah. I know you mentioned, we touched on earlier the fact that you were an alcoholic. No more. You've been recovered for how many years now?
16. Every July 11th is my anniversary.
Well, you know, when you spoke of that, and I'm sure a lot of the violent nature was created by the alcohol. And can you tell us some of your altercations as a mob enforcer where maybe alcohol forced you to go over the edge a little bit too much?
I'm still on a first step in 16 years. I'm powerless over alcohol. It made my life unmanageable. But my father used to warn me about that. Anytime you went out and you pulled a robbery, and anytime you went out to straighten somebody out with violence, you had alcohol in you. That's called liquid false courage. And my father used to say to me, and that's how I handled wherever I went. And of course, if you read the book, you'll find out that Sammy Davis Jr.'s song, I Gotta Be Me, was my song, because after every holdup, I would throw the money away. I would go to a bar right next to the place I robbed and buy the bar a drink. And I would always, if there was a band or an entertainer, I would say, here's a $100 bill. Play I Gotta Be Me until I tell you to stop. And that was my song. And then, of course, when I met my wife 41 years ago, in the middle of the night, I came back from Vegas. I was indicted. And when I came there, she was working for my father as a waitress in my father's restaurant, the Highway Lounge. And I said, where's Jimmy Knapp? And she said, who are you? I said, I'm his son from Vegas. She said, why the hell don't you go back to Vegas? You're trouble, I hear. And why don't you leave that man alone? Who the hell are you? I said, give me the keys to this joint. So I told her, I'll throw you the hell out of here. And I was closing time. I said, you closing this place up? She said, yes, I am. So I knew the combination of the safe in the kitchen. I went in the kitchen and took all the money out. I had no money on me. I just flew in from Vegas. And she wouldn't tell me where my old man was, but I didn't want to call him at his house because it was late at night, and I didn't want to talk to my stepmother on the phone. So I called the car service. Actually, I didn't have to call the car service. They told me on the phone the car's on its way because Laura, already called the car service to take her home. She was closing up when I got in there. So now I locked the doors. I chased the car guy, the driver. I said, now you get out of here. I said, I'll take her home, you know. And I was going to call the car service anyway. And I grabbed her, and I played the jukebox. And the first song that come on was Sammy Davis Jr., I Gotta Be Me. So I said, dance with me now. She said, is that an order? I said, you can consider what you want. You're the only female in here. And even if there was a guy, I wasn't going to ask a guy to dance with me. I said, I'm telling you, dance with me. And she did. And before you know it, she said, play that song again. So I knew I had it then, you know. So that's what happened there. And I was called the prodigal son for the first time by her, Laura.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And obviously, that beautiful woman became your wife. So that's wonderful. That's an amazing story.
And 16 years in sobriety, and she's in sobriety, and she was never an alcoholic, but she went to therapy at the VA hospital also to learn how to live with an alcoholic.
Yeah.
She helped me, yes.
That's amazing. You know,
she doesn't let me forget either.
And good for her, you know. You had a nickname for your dad. When you would talk to him, you would call him Daddy-O?
Yes. What happened was this. The last 7 years, when he was 65 till he was 72, he was in Danbury, Connecticut. Then he was transferred to Lewisburg jailhouses. And he would send for me, but I was busy drinking. I had $250,000 a week in number action. And I knew if I go to see him, I knew he was going to bawl me out about taking so much business away from his supervisors that weren't paying. And they were blood related. So I waited 3 months before I finally went to see him in Lewisburg. When I was drinking all night, and I was drinking martinis in the afternoon, dews and soda, dews on the rocks with a splash of soda at night to cool my esophagus. I knew I was a professional drinker. I never considered myself an alcoholic. I never drank in cars. I never drank on the subway, only in restaurants, well, and at home. So now when I get to the visiting room with two of his crewmen that drove me there, 3.5-hour drive, and they're trying to sober me up by going 80 miles an hour and opening the back window so the air hits my face, and it really did, until a helicopter called the State Highway Patrol to stop us. We were speeding. So anyway, after that we got to Lewisburg, and in the visiting room was Jimmy Burke, who Robert De Niro played in Goodfellas. And then there was another boss from the Gambino family. And I don't want to mention their names. I think they're still doing time. Well, anyway, no, maybe not. They're probably gone. But their families are alive. So when I get there, I said, and you sit in, the prisoners sit with their back against the wall, and they have little tables like this for each visitor, but you couldn't have more than 3 visitors at a time, and each one. But the men, the prisoners, used to get together and say, call your family, so this way they could come the same day that my family's coming, so you and I could talk to each other. They'll think we're talking to the family. So the prisoners would set that up in the visiting room, so this way they could talk to each other. You see, the only time they could talk to each other was not in the chow hall, but an hour a day in the recreation yard, you know. But now they would be there. I would come in there, and I'd say to my father, Dad, you want me? He said, before you were born, I wanted you. And to think you were born on Mother's Day. What the hell kind of a gift are you? How the hell are you doing these things you're doing and you're getting away with it? Dad, if you had a daddy like I got, you'd do anything you want. Jimmy Burke stands up. This boss stands up. They're all doing time together. And hug and kiss me. They said, Jimmy, this is something special, this guy. So, but there were times I used to call him Daddy-O.
Whether I'm right or whether I'm
If you like the Tony Knapp interviews, you will have to read his book, My Father, My Don. There is much more information than what was in the interview, and I am sure, like me, you won't want to put the book down. So to find out how to purchase this amazing true story, just go to Tony's website at www.myfathermydon.com.
I want to live, not merely survive. And I won't give up this dream of life that keeps me alive. I gotta be me. I gotta be me. The dream that I see makes me what I am. That faraway prize, a world of success, is waiting for me if I heed